Pop culture and media are a constant in today's society. It's always affecting us, constantly in effect. And it's always reflecting real life things, whether it be events happening in the world or your very own political views, or even political views that are not your own. And in today's world, it matters more than it ever has. We are in a constant state of strife and stress. We are living alone or with a family in a constant state of quarantine. It's how it's been for a while now. And we really can't help that. But popular culture is one of the things that we can constantly depend on, along with media, in order to understand the outside world. Why does this matter? Well, I'm here today to talk to you about why we should allow popular culture to affect our political views. Now, you may be wondering, why should we let that happen? Well, in today's world, we are constantly depending on pop culture. Now, you may be wondering why we're doing that. Well, as I said before, we are in a constant state of quarantine. It matters today that we can depend upon things for outside sources because we no longer have our peers or other people to depend on for things like this. And we're always connected through pop culture and media because pop culture, as previously stated, reflects real world views. And it even is concurrent with current political or even world events that we can't get to see all the time. You go onto YouTube and you can always look at, your you can always look at updates on COVID. You can look on legislation. You can look up videos on legislation being pushed through for COVID. You can look for other things, and you can see how things are affecting us in today's society. But more than that, pop culture is a constant reflection of your political beliefs. Don't believe me? There are actual shows based on politics. It's more than just the news or something like that. That reflects our political beliefs or gives us updates on our politics. We get to due to popular culture, we get to see other sides of the same coin or dice or whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you're making a comparison to our politics. Politics is not a constant state. There are other views outside of our own. And in today's world, where we're constantly in quarantine, it matters more than ever. Now, you might not believe me that popular culture and politics intermingle in any way. And there have been constant studies showing that this is true, such as Dr. Sonia Enthorn, a professor at the University of East Anglia. She talks in an article that she does called From Entertainment to Citizenship. She talks about the intermingling of academic study of politics and popular culture. Now, just because there's an academic study of it doesn't mean that there is a true connection between the two. But the fact that there's an entire academic study behind it, and a paper written by a doctor at a university, is more than enough proof to allow us to see that politics does intermingle with popular culture. In today's world, it matters more than ever because we need to be able to see our own views reflected in different things. We need to be able to see that other people's views are reflected in other things, and they can come in and influence our lives by allowing us to see how other people interact with their politics and what they say. There are shows that aren't directly related to politics that constantly give out their political views. For those of you that are interested in sitcoms, there's a sitcom called Last Man Standing that gives us the same exact political view of some people that we may know, or even people that we don't know. It gives a very conservative point of view, and it even gives liberal points of view in some of the characters. It's a show created by Tim Allen about a conservative man that is a co-owner of a store called I can't remember the name of the place, but I can't remember the name of the store. Outdoorsman, I think. But it gives us a constant view of a different political standpoint than we might have ourselves. He's constantly berating politicians. different things that are happening in government up in the current state, because it's a new show that's constantly giving us new episodes. Um, and while it is a comedic show, a sitcom, situational comedy is the full term for it, Jonathan Gray cites how comedic shows interact with our politics. Not just comedic shows, but comedy as well. Another form of popular culture is comedy specials, comedic shows, things like that, that will allow us to see and view other points of view of politics. Now, I can completely understand how you might not see that politics and popular culture should intermingle, because it doesn't always reflect true views, or sometimes it reflects a radical point of view, or sometimes it just doesn't reflect any sort of politics whatsoever. But popular culture is one of those things that is constantly changing along with our politics, along with our world. We see shows like Game of Thrones that have a connection to gay culture and gay pride and gay sex, and making statements of politics today, including climate change. And it does seem that, popular culture shouldn't affect our politics, but politics is one of those things that is constantly changing, and that we have to adhere to our own view while also accepting other people's views. And without accepting other people's views, how can we accept our own or even change our own? Popular culture gives us an insight into other avenues that we didn't choose when we chose our political standpoints, or allows us new viewership into our own political views, or into other political things that we have yet to truly take a standpoint on. And it will give us one side from maybe a radical point of view, or a moderate point of view, a conservative point of view, a liberal point of view. There's all kinds of things that is constantly happening whenever it comes down to our viewership of our politics. The interaction between popular culture and politics is not a new thing. We've seen it since the early 2000s, and even before that. My last speech was about the 2016 election being affected by Game of Thrones, a political show with an archaic point of view and an archaic political structure. But that doesn't mean that it can't affect us. Because while being a drama centered on a long time ago in a fantasy world that is nothing like our own, it still reflects political views. Such as in season 5, whenever Cersei allows religion to overtake the government and be somewhat more powerful than that. We see it in other shows like Westworld or House of Cards that give us a fuller viewership of politics and how it is done behind the scenes. Thanks to all of this, we get our interaction between politics and popular culture. More than that, though, we have other people that interact with politics and popular culture, such as Ellen DeGeneres. We all know her, we all love her, or some of us might not know her. Ooh, sorry, camera's shaking. We all might not love her, we all might not know her, but we have, probably as children, heard her voice in things like Finding Nemo or Finding Dory, things like that. She is a pop culture icon that has voiced characters in our childhood and is still relevant to today, and is a lesbian, part of gay culture. So, and she constantly reflects her political views in what she does. You may still not agree with me, but pop culture and politics go hand in hand. One interacts with the other constantly. Pop culture is constantly reflecting political views, and political views is constantly affecting pop culture.